Hey everyone, Scott here to discuss The Brothers Bloom, starring Rachel Weisz, Adrian Brody, Mark Ruffalo, Rinko Kikuchi, Maximilian Schell, and Robbie Coltrane, directed by Ryan Johnson. Now, I'm reaching to an unfamiliar territory, so let's just get straight into this movie because I'm unfamiliar with this movie at all. The movie tells the story of Stephen, played by Mark Ruffalo, and Bloom, played by Adrian Brody, moving on from foster home to foster home as they were troubling young kids as adults. The Brothers Bloom, which is what they're called in Berlin, with Bloom getting a shot at as it was fake, and the killer runs out of the room. Bang Bang, played by Rinko Kikuchi, comes in as their assistant, and I don't really like the Brothers Bloom as characters. And Bang Bang looked like she was having a ton of fun when, in the role, and her body language was the reason she's the best character in this movie. As she does a good job at playing the character in a fun way, and the acting is kind of cheesy as director Ryan Johnson doesn't get the best performances by these actors. Bloom quits the business they're in while a camel drinks Steven's cantina, which was absolutely stupid, sure. And Bloom takes off to Montenegro, where Steven and Bang Bang can't find them. As months pass by, Steven and Bang Bang find Bloom and wants to take him to New Jersey and find a rich girl's house, as the rich girl is Penelope, played by Rachel Weisz, breaking one as she breaks one car after another and gets a new one every single damn time. And this character is lovable, sure, but at the same time, pretty annoying in my opinion. Bloom goes down on purpose and gets crashed while Penelope crashes in the bushes and is taken to the hospital. And as she gets out, she wants Bloom to take her home and talks to Bloom while she doesn't pay attention, and their chemistry was bad. Bloom invites Penelope to come on a ship, and she ends up coming on despite she doesn't know Bloom all that well, or at all for that matter. And the shots are pretty good, as I wouldn't call the filming of this great, but the shots at the sea are pretty good at best. Penelope and Bloom have dinner together as she continues to tell her story, and he asks her to dance as curator, played by Robbie Coltrane, our curator, I think is his name, approaching Penelope like a creep. And as he walks away, they do start dancing, which felt very choreographed by the professional dancers. And it didn't look good. And I'm 40 minutes into this movie, and I don't know what their profession is at this movie, as this movie is unfortunately a mess, and the editing made this thing run a little too long. They arrive in Greece, and Penelope tells Bloom about a proposition curator made for her, as she wants to be in a gang, and this has no explanation on why. And they're on a train, and she and Bang Bang smuggle us some snacks that aren't free, by the way, folks. And what was the point of that, I wonder, which was bothering me to begin with? A thunderstorm begins while on the train, and it makes Penelope horny. Oh my god. And why would you put that in a piece of dialogue in this movie is beyond me. They go to Curator's place, and he's been drinking as well as belching and farting, which was a painful scene to watch. Very painful. Bloom and Penelope become a couple, and why is that, I wonder, as it bothered me from the get go. A man approaches Bloom and he threatens to involve his brother, and Stephen does eventually enter and stabs as well as beating the crap out of the man. And what is this movie about? I don't know. And I don't really know if I want to care. They discuss they need something of a small explosion for what reason for their plan, and Penelope kisses Bloom and starts smooching. And this was the point I was falling asleep on this movie for the first viewing, and I watched this twice for this viewing as it was boring me out of my freaking mind. As they do the plan, Penelope runs away and they don't see her as she climbs an event and it breaks on them. And am I laughing at this? Not by a long shot. They see Penelope in the back of the police car and she gets out with some drugs. I don't know why they're going after it, as it makes no sense. And this may be the weakest Ryan Johnson has done in his career so far, not counting Star Wars. That That his take is the weakest of that series, I'll just say. They get to Mexico to pull off one or more smuggle mission, but first they stay at a hotel and Bloom confesses they're mobsters and was setting Penelope up to begin with and confronts Stephen as he as she tells him they want to leave, but Stephen doesn't want him to go and have a fight and hug it out, and Bloom wants Penelope to leave as these scenes are unnecessary. Bang Bang sings karaoke while Bloom goes back to Montenegro, and Penelope goes back to New Jersey and decides to go to Montenegro after 3 months to talk about coming back as a team. And Bloom tells her to go away, and we get a few flashbacks. And the score is bad to hear, and as it also sounds familiar. While Bloom is in love with Penelope until Stephen the ends this ends one more time, and they go over the plan to finish a job, and I'm still bored at this point. I'm sorry, I truly am. They get shot at by some gangsters and drive into the forest, and I thought, how the hell can they survive at this as the car explodes? And Bloom and Penelope will talk with Bang Bang until she leaves. Her car explodes as they get a note to that says wire some money in a specific account, as Penelope wants to write the money for the life of Stephen, and Bloom thinks it was all Stephen's idea as a real con, and the bad guy is the curator, and they have a shootout with Stephen, taking a bullet for Bloom, and pretends to die as it was a fake out. While, like, what happened to Bloom in the beginning of this movie? As Stephen tells Bloom to go with Penelope to Rio, which he does, Stephen dies, and I was ready to move on as the climax bored me half to death. Now it's time for the rating. I'll give this movie a 3.9 out of 10. I don't like the characters as they're annoying, but the best character, in my opinion, is Bang Bang because of her body language and the fact she has a ton of fun in this movie. But the chemistry was bad, and director Rian Johnson doesn't get the best performances with the other actors. The shots were pretty good, but not great, as the daytime sea scenes looked better than the rest of the movie, and the acting is kind of cheesy, which is not a good thing. The movie, unfortunately, is a mess as there's actions but no explanation, and that's what makes the movie a mess. And this is why this is a non-recommendation. So I'd like to thank you guys for joining me, and next time I will be back with Looper. And until next time, we're not the Brothers Bloom anymore.